Order, please, and thank you for attending this evening's Board of Supervisors meeting for South Strabane Township. Roll call, by supervisor present, our township solicitor is present, our township manager and assistant to the manager present, and our township engineer is present. Other officials will be recognized a little bit later in the program. Making a note that just before this meeting, we had an executive session concerning personnel and litigation. Would you please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, next on the agenda, public comment time. The Township Board of Supervisors allocates a period of time during this item for those individuals who would like the opportunity to address the Board of Supervisors on any matter. Each person addressing the Board of Supervisors is asked to limit their comments to a maximum of 3 minutes. Mr. Stank, do we have anybody on?
Do we have anybody who would like to speak during public comment? Ms. Daigle?
Which microphone do I use? Or do I have to use? I don't need a microphone. I don't.
No, that might be very big.
I'm here because I would like to ask a couple of questions from the board. First of all, did we receive any grants from the grant money?
LSA or what?
The grants money that was distributed from the government. Have we received any grants?
Are you talking about the American Rescue Plan funds?
Yes,
Yeah,
anything.
Yes. That's not a grant, it's, okay, it's not called a grant, but it's, we receive money from.
For what are we using it for?
Well, the final rule just came out, I believe, a few weeks ago, and we made big changes in it. It can be used for like stormwater, sewage, water projects, so forth, other different situations. But when I looked at the final, the final rule, not the interim rule, you can take it up to $10 million charge for loss of revenue. So you can even take that money up to 10 million and use it for whatever you want, based upon that new change.
Have we gotten any of it paid to us personally?
I'm sorry?
Have we gotten any of the money paid to us? Have you
We get it-
asked for
we get
any?
it in two sequences. We got some last year. I don't know what the amount is. And I believe that was like last summer. We'll get a second amount this summer, I believe. Like, I don't know what the amount is.
Yes.
That's
Yes, we
really,
received two, we'll receive two, what they call tranches. So we received first part of it and then we'll see the second part of
I
it.
understand that.
And it's a total of 900,000 bucks.
Okay, what are we using it for?
Yeah, we haven't determined that yet because the final rule, like Dennis had just said, just came out.
It just came out.
And
Okay.
we have until 2024 or 2025 to spend that money. We also, before we spend that, like, I'm correct, is it 2024, 5, right?
I think it's 2024 maybe for the first and then 2026 for the second.
All right, and then basically, we also have to pass a resolution how we're going to spend that money.
Okay, is that going to be made public?
It has to be resolution.
Everything we do is public.
Right.
Okay, the communication on this board has to improve. As you saw from the last meeting we had. Our residents want communication. So let's please continue that. I really appreciated the meeting that you had last week. Now, my second question is, are we going to get another dog for our service dog for our township?
We're going to give you that answer in a few minutes. We're going to make an announcement about it.
Okay, I would like to suggest that we get a friendly service dog that can go into our schools and be with Scott, like Scott has recommended, and I just spoke to Drew about it. We used to have the communication with the schools and around doing different, things. I know my end is up, but
Thank you very much. Thank you. We got the message for both your questions. You had two questions. Please have a seat. Anybody else?
Judy Panassi, Green Crescent Drive. I think it's wrong that people who are on Zoom are now not allowed to talk during the meeting, during public comment. I just want to know why this township is afraid of what the residents have to say. And some people aren't here, and one person just got booted back off of Zoom. They can't even see it now because they're not here for our safety because they weren't feeling well. And COVID is still rampant. It's still going around.
So you, wait a second, so you're saying they're not, we blew them off
No,
today?
stop my time, Dennis. I'm
No,
sorry.
I'm sorry, no, you said we blew them off today, I'm asking.
Yes, Dennis, yes. There's somebody that just got booted off tonight and they wanted to speak and they didn't find out. Again, what are you guys afraid of? Why can't people who are on Zoom, who are trying to stay safe and keep everybody else safe, aren't allowed to talk at meetings now? That just is ridiculous. I know tonight there's, I was at the planning meeting last week and found out the township owes 800 or fronted $800,000 for the sewage project. And I know you guys are going to developers agreement tonight, but I guess my question is, has anybody talked to Ouija yet? Is Ouija involved in any of this? I mean, I think that would be important to all of this. And from things I'm hearing, they're not. And I'm highly concerned after being at that planners meeting, what's going on with that project up there, that you might want to talk to people who've talked to some of their law people, because their lawyer was telling people that they are going to go bankrupt. So why would we sign into a developers agreement and do everything with somebody whose attorney is telling a judge in Washington court or whatever courtroom that they might be going bankrupt? They also are not following ordinances. They have not been, nothing's been done about the fact that they are not cutting the grass behind one of the residents' homes, causing them severe problems. That's been going on for years. Like, why would you sign an agreement or get into bed with anybody that isn't following any of the rules or doing anything and may leave us with another hot mess? And that bothers me. So I just hope that this is not going to become, and we've had a lot of lackadaisical legal work in the past. I'm not saying anything about you, Dennis. I'm saying in the past with this township, look at what happened with Tanger and the TIF. Look at what happened with the roadway, which leads me to my next concern, that we're granting the KLH the bid. Well, they weren't the ones who were supposed to look at that when we were taking it over, make sure it was okay. It hasn't, how long's it been? And now we've got to get it fixed already. And that's the engineering firm we're going to trust. We've had engineering firms in the past that have led us down the wrong road and caused problems. I just would think you'd maybe get somebody better. But with everything that's going on in this township, and I just hope that that 900,000 doesn't keep going to developers like this county likes to do. There's a lot of stuff that needs done in this township that could make it better. And developers come in here, they should have to pay like everybody else and not be getting any free money. We have a police force that could probably use it, a fire department. And real quick, speaking of all fire departments, why do we hire people not living in the township to be our firemen? That could be part of the problem, why it took 18 minutes to respond. If you have people that aren't living close, they cut me off for a second, so give me an extra second. But anyway, between what's been done to the sewage authority, what's been done to the volunteer fire department lately, I think this township's starting to have some real concerns. And as somebody said today, Bob,
Please be seated.
Dennis saw me.
Please be
You've
seated.
awakened the giant, as someone said. I love that Dennis.
Can I-
And nothing against you, Dennis, but you guys could have. Thanks,
If
Bob.
I, Mr. Ward, can I respond to some of the things? You don't mind? Again?
No. Let's move on, please. Anyone else? Number 3, please. 4, meeting minutes. Need a motion to approve the Board of Supervisors budget meeting minutes, October 14th.
I'll make that motion.
Second, thank you. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Board of Supervisors regular meeting minutes, January 25th, 2022.
Motion to approve.
Thank you. Second, please. Thank you. Any discussion? All those in favor of approval, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Board of Supervisors special meeting minutes, February 8th, 2022. Motion, please. Thanks, Mr. Murphy. Second.
I'll second it.
Thank you, Mr. Lukasich. Any discussion? All those in favor of the approve the minutes, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Board of Supervisors non-legislative meeting minutes dated February 8th. Need a motion, please.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Mr. Second, thanks, Mr. Murphy. Any further discussion? All those in favor of the meeting minutes February 8th, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any motion carried 5-0. Number 5, financial business. Approval of payroll for the periods January 9th through January 22nd and January 23rd through February 5th, and bills for the period January 22nd to February 18th, 2022. Need a motion, please.
Motion to approve.
Thanks, Mr. Lucas. Second, please.
Second.
Thanks, Mr. Murphy. Any further discussion? All those in favor of the motion, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Nay. Motion carries 5-0. Okay, at this time, number 6 announcements. I'm going to ask Chief Hill, would you please come forward and your associates, and we can explain to the audience and the community concerning the replacement dog.
Thank you. Good evening, board and public. Thanks for taking time out of your business meeting to let us address the public. Here to talk about and recognize the service and unfortunately loss of our K9 Tornado. K9 was sworn in June 22nd, 2021, I believe, and a short period later, January 27th, 2022. Unfortunately, due to unforeseen medical expenses, we no longer have the service of our K9. I brought officer and K9 handler Keith Zankovich with me tonight, who wished to say a few words about the service of K9 Tornado, about the loss of K9 Tornado. If you've not met Officer Zankovich, he's a veteran K9 handler and veteran officer of this township. He was very instrumental in the development, planning of the program, the training of K9 Tornado, and basically the K9's partner morning, noon, and night, since the dog arrived here. So I'd like to introduce Officer Keith Zankovich, who wished to speak again to the service and loss of K9 Tornado. Thank you, Chief.
As Chief stated, Monday, January 24th, Tornado and I were assigned the night turn shift, which was 7P to 7A. He had a medical issue where I transported him to the emergency vet up the street to PVSEC, where he was seen. Due to an unforeseen medical issue, as Chief stated, Tornado passed away Thursday, January 27th. Tornado was surrounded by my family, which is here, my wife, my 2 children. Our assigned shift, Sergeant Steiner, Nick Sean, and Officer Coley, the chief and the members of our police department were also there that day. On behalf of my family, I personally want to thank the township board, the township manager. The list is endless. The chief of police, the vets, North Strabane Police Department. They assisted me that night at the emergency vet up at PVSEC with trying to make Tornado as comfortable as possible. One of their K9 handlers were up there. My goal was straightforward when we started this program last year, to make K9 Tornado the ambassador of the police department. I feel like in that short period of time, we did succeed in that time to succeed his role as the ambassador. Just some quick stats, and I'll try to make this as quick as possible. I only have 27 pages to go over, so I'm sure we'll be no problem. Tornado was utilized 26 times from being sworn in until his untimely death. Those 26 times he was used for tracking criminal subjects, narcotic searches, and officer safety issues in the township. No officer was injured on any call as a result of Tornado being present, meaning no officers were assaulted due to his presence being there as a deterrent. We had daily public relation visits to Community Park, where we worked on training and socialization with the township residents and visitors. He loved that park. He really did. Since his passing, I've received sympathy cards from as far away as San Bernardino, California, a national organization that makes homemade memorial blankets for officers that are injured or killed in the line of duty. They sent a memorial blanket, and I believe it's crochet. My mother-in-law does that, and if I don't say that right, it's an Afghan. So she'll yell at me and smack me in the back of the head. But as well as homemade sympathy cards from children from Trinity East, they passed along to myself, and countless acts of kindness from the residents of the township. Being a canine handler is more than riding around with just a dog in the back of a canine car. He truly becomes part of my family. The loss of him also affects my family as much as it does myself. the worst day of canine is when the partner that you're with 24 hours a day, 7 days a week passes away. Typically, it's 10 years. I thought I was going to have 10 years with him. I didn't think I was going to lose him before he turned 2, which would have been on March 9th. In closing, again, from the bottom of my heart, I sincerely appreciate all the support and the compassion from the township residents and the board and everyone else involved. The township may have lost a dog on January 27th. We lost part of our family. So I appreciate it.
I want to say thank you. We all love the dog. We love Tornado. We got to see him the night we brought him over. So
Yeah.
we heard nothing but good about the dog. The community was taking to the dog. They love that dog also. This is your family, by the way.
It is, yes, that's my wife Sandra, my
Hi.
middle son Sean, and
I want to thank you because I
this
know
one,
you're a
Dominic.
big part of housing that tornado at home. And you have to take care of them. You learn to love them too, and get close to them, just like the officer did. And I just want to give you a double thanks and let you know your husband did a great job with Tornado. We were very displeased about or unhappy about the unfortunate incident. So we're at a market, taking a look at it, see how we can do to try to replace Tornado. I don't think Tornado can ever be replaced. One of those things you love, love dearly. And then in honor of Tornado, and a special thank you for your caregiving, Dan. I'd like everybody to stand, have a moment of silence for Tornado, okay? It was one of ours. Thank you. And once again, thank you for coming over this evening.
thank you. I appreciate the time and like I said, the continued support. Hopefully the program gets to continue. It's
Hey Keith,
Yes, sir.
did you take the dog around to the schools when you was here?
yes, yes,
Okay,
we did a lot of public relation details through the schools and the businesses. Walked countless times through Tanger outlets, Walmart, Home Depot, Lowe's.
Okay, that's one of the questions the resident had asked about that. I knew it, but I wanted to hear it from you.
Yes,
I've had German Shepherds for over 24 years. Smart, loyal, and when you lose one, it is like losing a pet.
it is.
It is.
It's tough, but like I said, it's worthwhile at the end of the day. It's
Oh, they're great dogs.
Yeah.
Great.
so.
Once again, thank you.
Thank you
Thanks for
very
coming
much.
over.
Thank you, guys.
Hey, before you go, I'd like a quick clarification, because Brandon, didn't you say his kids were 6 and 9? They're 6 and 9,
At one time, they were 6 and 9.
They're big for their age.
I think maybe on my first dog, and then, there was Zico, and then there was Ike, and then,
Big 6 years, big kids, huh?
lineman for Trinity.
Do they play for Trinity?
I'm sorry?
Do they play for Trinity?
My youngest one does, yes.
Okay, once again, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Let's move on, please, to number 7, Township reports and presentations. MS4 report, the Board of Supervisors allocates a period of time during this item for comments regarding the topic of stormwater. Each person addressing the Board of Supervisors is asked to limit their comments to a maximum of 3 minutes. Mr. Stan, do anyone like to speak to this?
Anyone like to speak about MS or stormwater or MS4?
Is that the stuff, is that when you guys been working down on Sanitary Station? Or not Sanitary, sorry, Manifold Road?
It's stormwater. It's about, just
Never
about
mind, then
stormwater.
it's not now. No.
Not specific to the manifold enforcement.
Okay.
That's super.
Okay, Nick,
Wes.
But no, there was the creek thing going on down there with all the water,
Sure. We still have that project in front of us.
but that is not this.
I don't think it is. Well,
It relates
that's-
to-
That's MS4.
Yeah,
That's related.
Okay, well, then, the only comment I have to make is that I still have a concern that up Pine Lane Road, is it Pine Lane? Pine Valley, sorry, shouldn't have put the show. Pine Valley Road, that whole creek and up behind where all the water is gonna be coming from the new development is going to run down into that and into that bed of water. I mean, it all connects. I mean, I'm not an engineer, but I can see that with my own eyes having lived here and having driven Manifold today in wasn't even a torrential downpour, all of the water that was on the road and how bad it was. I have concerns again with that development going up and all the water that's gonna dump down that way through Scavati's property and through that creek down into that. I mean, that's my comment.
Okay, thank you. Township manager report, please.
We have a couple things. So just for the board's information, I'm gonna have Kevin come up and speak a little bit about it. Included a memo from Engineer Craig to Mr. Shever of Ouija regarding the pump station capacity. I'm gonna invite Kevin up to talk a little bit about what that Manifold project, force main project does in regards to increasing our capacity in the system.
Thank you. So as part of the Manifold Road Pump Station project, we were asked, we represent Ouija as well. We were asked by Ouija to see what the effect of the upsizing of the Manifold force main from 10-inch and 12-inch in some parts to a uniform 14-inch all throughout the force main would do for capacity at the Manifold pump station. So the way you determine capacity in pump stations is through a system of two curves. One is the system head, and that's your amount of friction and elevation that you're trying to overcome. And then that's called your system curve. And then you balance it with your pumping curve. So you know what your pumps do as they go through their cycle, whether they're 10%, 20%, 30%, all the way up. And where those two intersect, that's called your duty point, and that's what you're able to pump through that pump station. So when you upsize over a mile of pipe to a uniform 14-inch and take it from, in most cases, ductile iron to a smooth lined plastic, you're lowering the friction loss because of the change from ductile iron to plastic, and you're also increasing the capacity. Just because of the diameter, you can start to put more sewage through it. So once you do those calculations, we found that the existing, the current Manifold pump station pumps at 2,100 gallons per minute. There's 1,440 minutes in a day. So that means that roughly Manifold pumps at 2.8 million gallons per day. By doing the Manifold force main project that's before you and front and center for you, you're increasing the capacity of the pump station by 400 to 500 gallons per minute. So that's an additional 700,000 gallons per day. So what does that mean? For planning purposes, an EDU, an equivalent dwelling unit, so a single family home, is one EDU. 700,000 gallons per day, one EDU is worth 300 gallons per day for planning purposes. So doing some quick math, that's roughly 2,300 to 2,400 EDUs of new sewage that you can push through the Manifold pump station. So just for just to kind of put that into raw terms here, for instance, right now, the Manifold pump station today is at or near capacity. So as things currently stand, Ouija has imposed a moratorium on taps for the township. So the Manifold pump station project is imperative for development to continue at all. It doesn't mean, even if Meadows Landing or even if Burkett Manor weren't around, Ouija has held up development for car washes, which are 30 EDUs, because they just don't feel that there's adequate capacity currently that they can reasonably say, yes, let's bring in that development. So the Manifold pump station is crucial, not just for development in 2027 moving forward, but in the year 2022. So the Manifold project is contentious right now, but it's very necessary. So the 2,300 units that we're talking about of future capacity at full build out over the next 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years at Meadows Landing, that's 350 EDUs. The Burkett Manor project, which has been previously approved and is ready to go, is another 150 EDUs. So between those two, it's roughly 500 EDUs. That still leaves you 1,800 EDUs for shopping malls, for 1,800 more homes, or a combination thereof. So it'll set up the township not just for the year 2022, which it needs because of the current moratorium, but it's going to set up the township for development for the foreseeable future of 5 to 10 more years at least. And then once that is done, down the line, the next step would be just to upgrade the pumps themselves potentially at Manifold Pump Station as well. So the Manifold force main is very vital now, in the near future, and in the future for the township. And that's what we have submitted as Ouija's engineer, and we've also submitted that to South Strabane Township for your consideration.
Hold a minute, Kevin, in case anyone have a question for you guys.
How many more EDUs did you say we'll get out of?
2,300. Yeah, it's 400 to 500 gallons per minute. So that's on the high end, 700,000 more gallons per day. And you divide that by 300 gallons per EDU. So 2,400 more units.
And we'll reserve that excess capacity in those lines for the township.
Yes, the Manifold station is inherent, correct, just to South Strabane. There's another pump station that is down by the Trolley Museum, for those of you who are familiar with that area. And it's called either the Arden Pump Station or the TAC Pump Station, depending on who you talk to. That one is shared with development with Chartiers. They're the primary driver of development there. And South Strabane Township, that one is already in the planning stages to be upgraded as well.
So then we'll have to do an agreement between both townships to determine the
That's-
reserve excess capacity.
That's correct. Yeah.
And that's something we have to be cognizant of.
Correct. Yes. But this Manifold one is South Strabane specific.
So we're not losing it, I'm sorry.
Yes.
But you've got pumps, you got pipes. I get that. I understood your whole math thing somewhat, although I don't want to do it myself. Is storage not another variable that could be added in there?
Not typically. Not typically.
But
Storage is more at the treatment plant itself in the form of an equalization basin. I wouldn't have that be the top choice.
Well, I wouldn't either, but short of going back in and turning your 14-inch line into a 16-inch
Correct.
line or something, is not storage another alternative?
Well, the next step would be then to change out the impellers at the pump station itself so that it could spin at a different rate, get a better grade, higher grade of pump. So you would just change the
Just so
pump
I can
source.
sleep the night, storage does fit into that equation
Yes.
in theory.
Yes,
Whether you
I
want
the last thing I
storage
want
shed
is
or
for you
not.
to wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning, worried about sewage. That's what I do.
Thanks.
So
Kevin, where's that located, the sewage plant itself?
the sewage plant or Manifold pump station?
Wherever the,
Manifold. pump-
everything goes.
Treatment facilities.
Yeah, the treatment facility.
It's down in the Chartiers area by past the Trolley Museum.
Okay.
That's TAC is the last pump station before that,
And does that just
That's
service
right.
short cares and South Strabane? Or,
yes,
okay.
yes.
The treatment facility services just those two townships or?
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you meant the last pump station. Ouija itself serves a series of municipalities.
Okay.
Yeah,
Where's the treatment facility?
down past the trolley museum.
Or Manifold.
By the landfill.
Oh, the other pass. I
Yes.
was going-
Oh, yeah, wrong past, yeah.
The other pass.
Brandon, you have something to say?
No, I appreciate the update. Also, as part of my report, in request, the board had requested Kevin put together a $100 quote to go ahead and apply for those grant monies that are available to go ahead and it's a 50-50 match to update our Act 537 plan, which would probably start towards the end of the year into 2023 for budget reasons. So he's provided that about $1,500 to prepare that grant application. And we'll move it at the board's direction. Previous meeting.
Okay, Secretary, thank you, Kevin.
You're welcome.
Oh, just a couple more things, just a status on the Ouija agreement. So today we received something from Ouija's counselor, Mr. Torres, and we'll be reviewing that and speaking with Ouija shortly. Also, what we call the Smith Shaft Reclamation. If you recall, in the early 2000s, could be wrong, so if anybody has a better history on it than me, please speak up. But CNX, who's then council, had donated land that is now community park, with the exception of a portion of the western half that contains an air shaft from a former mine, Smith Shaft. And late last year, Public Works Director Grego and myself conducted an on-site meeting with representatives of CNX, American Consolidated Natural Resources, Washington County Land Resources, Inc., and the DEP for the purposes of determining final reclamation conditions of the land. It's anticipated that the bond, which the DEP requires, will be released by the DEP back to Washington County Land Resources before the end of the year. As spring approaches, the township, with the assistance of CNX, will remove the large earthen mound, the fencing and concrete coping that remains there, and sort of bring that back to a normal state of being and incorporate it into what we have as a community park. Also, went out over the wires over the weekend on Friday. The Fire Negotiations Committee, and that includes myself, Mr. Burns, and Mr. Lukatich, and our council, Mr. Warner. That continues with the fire union, and it's a new contract, but having shared a proposal with the board that was developed by the committee and the union, the South Strabane Fire Department providing fire protection, rescue, EMS services on a 24/7 basis. They're running 4 platoons and 2 each at 10 to 14-hour shifts. Again, that approximate increase with the hours would be approximately 31,000. So we can absorb that for this year and it's us 24/7 fire service. That concludes my report. But going into the secretary report, I wanted to invite Troy up because in the secretary report is the code enforcement report. You've probably seen those numbers skyrocket a bit. And I invited Troy to stick around to tell us a little bit about what he's been up to since coming on board in January. Come on up, Troy.
Thank you, everybody. I started at 1st of January, started enforcing the codes in the 2nd week of January after training and getting to know the GIS program a little bit. We're up to a total of 51 violations as of today, year to date. 90% of our issue right now is motor vehicles, junk vehicles throughout the township. 90% of our problem right now is the vehicles. We do have some dilapidated structures, some rubbish, accumulation of rubbish and garbage, certain things, but like I said, our biggest problem is vehicles right now.
Why do you like it so far?
Good.
Okay.
Absolutely.
It's not with everything.
Settle in comfortably.
Yeah, busy?
Yes, very.
That's good. That's good to hear. Okay. Anyone else have any questions of the? Anybody? Thank you.
Thank you.
Open over.
I just found those numbers impressive, so.
They are impressive. Yeah, very good. Code enforcement. Okay, Mr. Secretary Treasury report.
Minutes for the report.
Okay, thank you. Township Solicitor, Mr. Maple.
We've been involved with labor negotiations with the road crew. The past few weeks, we've also been involved, Mike, in my office, Reno, and myself have been strenuously involved with doing the easements for the sewer project. There was nothing, I guess, prepared prior to my being involved. We've also been involved with developing contribution agreements for both Penn's Landing, or whatever you call it, Meadows Landing, and for Burkett Manor. We've also been involved in developing developers agreements with both of those entities. Contrary to one of the previous listers, I think our agreement is about 33 pages long, and in the past, it was like a page and a half. So we've been working pretty hard on getting those things set up for the future of the township. And that's about it at this point in time.
Thank you, Mr. Maple. Kevin, anything else besides what you already gave us?
No, I have a report submitted for your consideration. If you have to take any questions.
Okay. Anyone have any other questions, Kevin? Okay, let's move on then. Unfinished business. Need a motion, number 8, a resolution authorizing the Board of Supervisors, South Strabane Township enter to an intergovernmental agreement with the redevelopment authority of the county of Washington for the purposes of sewage service under the authority of the intergovernmental corporation. I need a motion to remove it from the table.
I'll make that motion.
I need a second, please.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Grego. All in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you. And nay, motion carries 5-0 to remove from the table. Mr. Stanley, you want to brief us once again?
Sure. As a result of termination of the sanitary authority on December 14th, the township has engaged the Washington County Redevelopment Authority in a revised agreement for providing sewage service in the racetrack road watershed. The agreement, which was the same agreement between the sanitary authority and the redevelopment authority, is in regards to the sanitary sewer facilities that were installed as a result of development along Racetrack Road, Bangor and Hotel. Additionally, new developments along Racetrack Road in South Strabane will connect to this system, which was financed by the redevelopment authority. Since the redevelopment authority financed the construction of facilities, the township will reimburse through tap-in fees generated as part of future development in the watershed at a rate of $1,609 per ADU. And as of December 31st, per the 2020 audit of the sanitary authority, $347,484 is due to the redevelopment authority. So all collection facilities will then, after the debt is paid off, be needed to Ouija once we have to pay in full. In its discussions with the redevelopment authority, the township solicitors updated the agreement reflective of its request to 1, strike section 3E regarding sewer line installation by Tanger Properties, as it's not complete and has been for some time. And number 2, extend the time frame in section 11, allowing the redevelopment authority 15 more years to recoup its costs for sewer facilities in the watershed. So the entire project, the entire project was $2.6 million. Right now, from our standpoint, there remains to be paid off $347,484 that we will use to pay off through tap-in fees.
Move to approve. Thank you, Mr. Bernier. Second, please.
I'll second it.
Thank you, Mr. Lukatich. Any further discussion?
I have some questions.
Go ahead. Murphy.
You ready? Sure. Section 4, number B. What's the $500 deposit retainer fee? That's the authority paying us or we're paying them? Section 4B.
This is that type of graph.
No, the $500 is an actual cost that we have and that we just have on our audit books. It was for a, I think it's, in essence, serves as an escrow in case that we have sort of serves as an escrow in the event that any additional fees are incurred by this. That's something that will stay on the books until this is paid.
This is something that agreed to, I guess, in the old days. What we did is we merged a number of the previous agreements together. Because there was one original agreement, and I believe there was 2 addendums to that original agreement. So what I did is I merged everything together. It's been sent over to their solicitor, and they all agreed to it. That's something that they want to do on.
For the $500, we pay them or they pay us?
It's just on the books.
Just what section is that?
Section 4B. It's on page 4 of the agreement.
Yes, that serves as an escrow in case we incur any fees. That's exactly what that serves. And then so in the audit, you'll see that, $500 there. It's
Section 8, letter A. Says upon the acceptance of installation by the township, the authority or its successor, sign shall submit written applications for sewer service on forms prescribed by WEJA, which applications shall be accompanied by payments of the proper storage treatment and condition fees. So my question is, what's the payment and what is the connection fee?
Well, the connection fees would be tap fees.
But if that wouldn't go to WEJA, that would go to us. They do get one, but
They
I
get-
don't know
they-
why
they'll
they
get
get
it-
the 1,200, I get that. I'm just in a question of why that's in agreement with us. For them to get, I'm just asking.
Sure, no, I appreciate it.
Then we have 1,200 for wages, tap fee,
They have a capacity.
$2,500 for the township's tap fee. We're acknowledging that those are the fees that are charged through any type of connection in the racetrack watershed.
And then section 11. It's actually it says it is presently believed that the tap-in fee for the relevant service area will be $2,000. Isn't it 2,500, or is this going back to when the agreement was written?
I think this might be the old draft, by the way.
So does that need change to 2,500?
It may have to be changed. Yeah.
Oh, also, this is a question of mine. I know I had it written down and I lost it, so I don't know. When was this contract originally done with this South Strabane? Store, do you know?
2006,
That's what I was thinking.
2006, and then I think
and
again,
2 addendums.
All right, so on the bottom of this, so we're renegotiating with them, I guess.
Right.
So my question to you is, because I'm reading this and it says such reimbursement shall continue for EDUs until the authority recoups 100% of its actual cost, including soft cost, or until the expiration of 15 years from this agreement, whichever comes first. So if you're telling me that they don't recoup the entire cost in 15 years, come up, we're clean?
Yes.
So why wouldn't have we kept it at 2006, the date, because we're almost at 15 years, we wouldn't have to pay any of it back. Am I wrong or right?
Yeah, you're right. And when I negotiated with Colin Fitch, he wanted to keep that in there. He wanted to have it for another 15 years.
the sanitary authority had went ahead and extended an additional year at their request. And the redevelopment authority had also advised that, should we not be reimbursed in full, we'll keep coming back to ask these annual increases.
And again, when we were putting this agreement together, again, it's going back and forth between myself and Colin Fitch. They wanted that, the new agreement, they wanted to have that 15 years. I understand what you're saying, because actually 15 years is over with, I guess, or close to being over. And everybody, they just want to do the money.
I get it. I'm not logging that.
No.
They're the ones that did the agreement. They've come up, they should have went 100 years.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Well, there's, I think there's, if I'm correct, there's a limitation with the Municipal Authorities Act about 15 years. That's statutory. No, I'm not answering your question.
And then section 12, cost of the project. Where, they're saying they want, what, 300 and some thousand? Where's this 2,600,000? What's that about?
That was the cost for the original project.
Originally, it was 26, I think it
It was
was,
originally it was 2 million, and then the records show that it went to 2.6 million.
right?
And so
And that was the reason for the first addendum, because the first addendum, they underappreciated the value of what it was gonna cost. So they did a second addendum in 2000, they did a first addendum in 2007 to the 2006 agreement, which they wanted to increase that fee. So the cost, the grant was cost overrun.
Okay, I'm glad I'm on that. then. Just that, want to make sure we're not stuck for 2,600,000.
No, it's already done, it's already done.
what the remaining is the 340.
That's all that's remaining.
That's all we need to pay back, and we owe 1609 per ED.
And they just want to get their money back, so.
I get it. Okay, that's it. Thank you. That's all my-
Thank you, Mr. Murphy. Anyone else? Call the question. All in favor of the motion, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried 5-0. Okay, on letter B, motion awarding a bid for professional engineering and surveying services for the Tanger Boulevard reconstruction project to KLH Engineers of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Before we move on this, I need to have it removed from the table. We need a motion, please.
Make that motion.
Thank you, Mr. Lickett. Need a second.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Murphy. All those in favor of removed from the table, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried 5-0. Go ahead, Mr. Stanley, give us a brief.
In 2019, the township was awarded a grant amount of $440,000 under the Washington County Local Share Account Program, the LSA, for the purpose of deferring a portion of the cost of the Tanger Boulevard reconstruction project. Through an agreement with Chapman Properties, Chapman will provide an additional $100,000 towards the project for a total of $540,000. The township is in receipt of 13 responses to its request for proposal for surveying, design, bid, and construction oversight for the project. The RFP was emailed on several local engineering firms, as well as a notice published in the December 31st edition of the OR. RFPs were due at 4 p.m. on January 18th. Recall its October 26th meeting, the board approved a cooperation agreement with the redevelopment authority to allow the township to complete management and oversight of the project. Cooperation agreement requires the township to abide by rules concerning and obtaining disbursement and usage of grant funds. An engineering firm will serve as the project manager with the assistance from the public works director. As the township will be using local funding for this portion of the project and not LSA funds, it is recommended the board award the design and engineering services to KLH Engineers in the amount of $25,500, which is $4,000 less than they originally bid, and reject all other bids. Once the award for design services is made and specs are provided by KLH, the township will then use the design prepared and bid for the construction of the project.
Need a motion, please. Thank you, Mr. Gregos. Need a second.
I'll second.
Thank you, Mr. Lukatich. Any further discussion? All those in favor of the motion, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. New business, number 9.
Can you read that real fast? Just so-
I will read it. Motion awarding a bid for professional engineering and surveying services for the Tanger Boulevard reconstruction project to KLH Engineers of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, at a amount of $25,500. Is that what you're looking for, the
No,
amount?
no, I just wanted
Do-
9J first.
Oh, not, okay, all right. All right, we already took care of it. 9J, I'll just skip to that then. This is a motion authorizing the police chief to pursue a new K-9 unit at or about the $12,000 budget amount. Mr. Stanley, you want to call the chief up or you want to brief this?
No, I'm ready.
With the assistance of Officer Sankovich, we put together a proposal tonight for the board to consider engaging the services of a kennel out of West Virginia and a trainer out of Charleroi to help us pursue and get our canine program back up and running. With authorization, we can start the search pretty much immediately, and then hopefully the selection goes well, commence with training, and maybe in as few as 4 or as much as 6, 7 months, we're back up and running with a new program. So the cost is approximately $10,000 to $12,000, depending on the selection process.
Thank you.
Approve.
Thank you. I need a second, please.
I'll second that.
Thank you. Any further discussion? All those in favor of the motion, please indicate by saying aye. Opposed? Motion carried 5-0. Thank you, chief. Okay, let's move up to 9A. Pre-application meeting with Menard Inc. regarding a proposed commercial retail building along Old Mill Boulevard in the C2 Commercial Zoning District. Mr. Stanek, could you please give a briefing?
In December, the township received preliminary plans from Menard. We're doing business as Menards. It's always easier to say. For a proposed commercial retail building along Old Mill Boulevard. The C2 Commercial Zoning District, it's on the edge of the old mill that's closest to Berry Road entrance. The property is approximately 45 acres in size, located in the northwest side of the shopping center. Recall that in 2016, the Board of Supervisors approved a proposed land development for a senior living apartment complex at this location. However, this is no longer active or being contemplated. The applicant proposes to construct and operate a Menard's home improvement store on the property. Specifically, it would consist of a big box retail facility, a garden shipping center, and a detached drive-through lumber yard. The parking area of 437 total stalls will also be constructed with associated lighting and additional stormwater facilities, as well as realignment of Old Mill Boulevard. And I believe that we have Nick on Zoom. They are operating from Eau Claire, Wisconsin. So he's able to be here on Zoom with us to just present some preliminary thoughts to the board and possibly receive some feedback. Go ahead.
Absolutely. Thanks, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
You guys can hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Nick Brenner here with Menards, calling from a snowy Wisconsin. So I appreciate you allowing me to do this via Zoom, as may travel significantly easier. But I don't have a whole lot to add. It's this is the third site in Western Pennsylvania that we are looking at. We own some ground in Uniontown. We own some ground in Greensburg. As we kind of break into this market, it's been a very challenging market. We need about 20 acres of ground to fit our store and outdoor lumber yard. So it's been a significant challenge with the topography that you guys have in this area to build some stores. But this is a very promising site. We've gone through most of our engineering. We are on the 1 yard line for the wetland permit that we have to submit. We're hoping to get that submitted next week. So over the course of the next, let's say 3 to 6 months, we're hoping to make some good strides on this project and get it to the point where it's really becoming a possibility to get this thing rolling. I would be happy. I can go into more detail on the operation of Menards. I know we're not in Western Pennsylvania, but we do have some stores in Eastern Ohio and in West Virginia. So I don't know how familiar you are with the operation, but I'd be more than happy to answer any questions on what Menards is. And I'd be happy to answer any site-specific questions that you may have. I hope you have the site plan in front of you and you can take a look on how we're laying out so far. But we remain very, very excited about being here in the township and really can't wait to take the next steps forward here.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Nick, this is Bob Weber, one of the supervisors. Would you explain the type of thing that you retail at your store and the type of things you offer to the customers?
Yeah, absolutely. So our main thing that we offer is home improvement products. We're very similar to a Lowe's and to a Home Depot. They are our main competition. However, we're a lot bigger store than those two. So we offer things such as pet supplies, pet foods, up to dog, cats, even wildlife. We offer some limited grocery supplies and some home decor items too. So But the vast majority of what we do is home improvement. Your appliances, your cabinets, doors, lumber, tools, all of those things. One thing that is really unique about Menards is our outdoor lumber yard. So we have a lumber shed in the back. That's what you see there at the warehouse area. It's actually a drive-through. So what you do when you go buy lumber or drywall or plywood, those big items, instead of having to load those up in a cart inside the store, you go back to the building materials desk, you get a slip, you pay for it at the registers, and you drive your car in that warehouse, and you're able to load those merchandise and those products straight into your car. It's a safety thing inside the store, makes it a lot easier, so people aren't taking these carts with these big sheets of lumber and whatnot on them through all the aisles. It just makes things easier. It's very nice. Customers love it. We also have the garden center as well, where you have all your pavers and other retaining wall blocks. All the plants and everything will be located there. Again, you can take your vehicle and load all that up as well. So that is, essentially really what we do as a company. It is important to know too that, from us, we actually manufacture a lot of the products that we sell. So like the concrete pavers and the concrete blocks, those are manufactured by Menards. So are a lot of the doors. So are trusses that you buy. Those are all Menards made materials. And we have a facility planned for in Ravenna, Ohio, just a little bit west of you guys, that once we get some more stores up in Western Pennsylvania here, we're going to be able to open up that facility. And that's where a lot of the products that will be sold at Menards will be made from.
Thank you, Nick. Is any other board members have any questions?
Excuse me, Mr. Chairman. Nick, can you provide the site plan for us, please? And can you talk a little bit about what we're looking at here?
Do you not have the site plan in front of you?
We do, but we have people in the audience, and I think it'd be a nice gesture.
Yeah, so I guess what do you mean by provide the site plan?
Could you put it up?
Oh, I don't have that ability. I apologize. I'm on my phone.
Can you put it up?
Might have to search for that, but I should be able to pull it up.
You're gonna be able to see it. Yeah. This is a pre-application and an introduction of the site plan and the facility, the community and the board. So I think we should have it up on the screen, and if we could sort of talk to some of those things that we're looking at, like parking lot, stormwater, reconfiguration of the roadway, footprint of the 200,000 square foot building, 50,000 square foot drive-through lumber yard, those details. That's always helpful.
I think you just did it.
I know. Let's see.
Yeah, are you guys able to? I have no problem with it going up. Are you able to put it up though? I cannot put it up. I don't have the ability to do that on my phone here.
We're getting there.
Okay, I'm sorry. I didn't know if you were talking to me or not. I apologize.
Sorry.
It's in the back.
Near the Berry Road. Yeah, Jim?
I'm looking for it.
The scenery's nice, Jim.
Yes, we can do.
In Lord, that Jim, when you put it up on.
Stand over there, but the light was getting my eyes.
Doesn't look like we have it. That's okay.
That's,
That's
hey,
okay.
Jim, don't worry about it. Okay, we'll cut that one out from There'll be more, there's additional meetings that'll be coming forward and display that stuff.
Picture of a really big store.
Yeah, it is big.
If anybody
A whole lot of
does wanna see
parking.
it, you can have it.
In a lumber yard, yeah, it's right here.
Okay, Nick, we're satisfied. We're good. We're gonna read the motion now and let's see how we react to this here. Pre-application meeting with Menard Inc. regarding a proposed commercial retail building along Old Mill Boulevard in the C2 Commercial Zoning District.
I don't think there's any. real
No.
motion. Just, if there's any feedback from the board that we could hear, take away, that'd be great.
Anything else?
Other than I had a lot on the drawing, but they're not here.
Yeah,
so
but they'll
I'm not
present-
going into that.
Yeah, they'll present that. Okay, Nick, thank you very, very much.
Yeah, thank you all for taking the time, and I look forward to meeting you all in person here in the coming months as we progress through this.
Okay, same here. Thank you.
Thank you, Nick.
Thank you.
Okay, let's go to B, motion approving agreement with the Meadows Landing Associates LP for its contribution to the Manifold Force Main project. This time, I'd ask a motion to table this item. We have a motion to table.
I'll make a motion.
Thank you, Mr. Murphy. Second, please.
I'll second it.
Thank you, Mr. Lukatich. All in favor of tabling this item, please indicate by saying aye. Opposed, motion carried 5-0. Letter C, motion approving agreement with Pennsylvania Finance 2 LLC for its contribution to the Manifold Force Main project. Once again, I ask for a motion to table this particular item.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Mr. Luke. Need a second, please.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Murphy. All those in favor of tabling this particular motion, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried 5-0. Okay, D through I, fellow board members, are all interrelated. So if you're okay with it, you've done your readings on this and so forth, we're gonna group these together into one motion, okay? And I'm gonna read each motion and then we'll have one motion for all of them, okay? Letter D, motion approving easement agreement with the Pennsylvania Trolley Museum. E, motion approving easement agreement with Gregory J. Dunn and Peggy A. Dunn. Motion approving easement agreement with J&R Golf Partners LP. Letter G, motion approving an easement agreement with 84 Outdoor LLC. Motion approving easement agreement with Meadowlands Industrial LLC. And a motion approving an easement agreement with T-Force Freight Inc. Now, would you brief us before, I should have done this earlier, brief us on why we're doing this?
Sure thing. So this is part of the Manifold project. These are areas of private property where the Manifold project, the conveyance line will run through. And before we do that, we need to obtain the easements with these private property owners. The Manifold, the actual conveyance lines are being put in other trenches in other areas right next to the existing pipes, but some of that is going, it's in different areas on public property. The easement agreements have been submitted to the private property owners for review. We're sharing these with the board to get a motion to approve those with allowing some latitude for me and Dennis to just revise any non-substantive issues that may come for each property.
In most of these situations, we have a 40-foot construction easement and a 20-foot permanent easement, correct? In most of the situations.
20-foot permanent and then
40.
10-foot temporary on either side of that, yes.
So you have, so it'd be 40 feet.
40, yes.
Move to approve.
Thank you, Mr. Byrne. His second,
I'll
please.
second it.
Thank you, Mr. Lukatich. Any further discussion on the motions? Please indicate, all those in favor, please indicate.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Nancy Zipco and Barry, what do you mean by a force main? What's a force main?
Kevin, we
Is that just the project's name? Is it a?
By force main is any sort of pipe that's under pressure. So this is being pumped along from pump station to pump station. There's either a force main or a gravity sewer.
Sewer pipe.
Yeah. Where's the furthest that you're getting the sewage from?
I'm sorry?
Where is the furthest that you're getting the sewage from to go into that pipe?
We imported from Canada.
Sorry.
It was too easy.
No, are you getting it from 19 and down, or where are you getting it from? Because I have a brand new system up there on Floor Hill Drive. Is it gonna be changed, Brandon?
No,
No, this isn't touching Floral Hill. This is on areas on the other side of the interstate, correct?
the manifold sewer shed is a very large area. And Manifold also accepts sewage from the racetrack road area.
That's what I want to know. That's what I'm wondering. Is it coming from off of Route 19 and down or where?
It's essentially from Trinity Point. And this is a very broad brush. You got to think of it geographically. So it's Trinity, up Cameron, all the way out to Racetrack Road. It's an extremely large sewer shed that gathers. That's why Manifold Pump Station currently pumps about 2.8 million gallons per day. It's a vital, Manifold is a vital cog in the township sewage.
So you're going to bring more into Manifold Pump Station, is that correct?
It's going to allow Manifold Pump Station to pump more into the receiving one, which is called Tech Pump Station. That's correct. Yes. It's in the rear of the trolley.
Yeah, I went through that a couple years ago with Floor Hill Drive. I understand that.
But this would have no impact on your
I-
personal project.
Okay. Call the question. Ready to vote? All those in favor of the motion, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Thank you. Now we'll jump on down to, we've done J, let's go to K. Motion to appoint McCall, Scanlon, Tice, LLC Certified Public Accountants to conduct a 2021 fiscal year audit for the Township Sanitary Sewer Enterprise Fund. Mr. Stanek?
So presented for the board's consideration is a motion to appoint McCall, Scanlon, and Tice LLC to the CPA to conduct a fiscal year audit for the former sanitary authority, now what we're referring to as the Sanitary Sewer Enterprise Fund. Ms. Kathy Houston, formerly of Houston and Associates LLC, has conducted previous audits of the former authority's finances. As such, it is being recommended the township engage Ms. Houston under the CPA firm to close out the final audit of the authority for an amount not to exceed $8,900 as proposed. The expense for this audit will be covered by the sewer fund, and not the township's general.
Move to approve.
Thank you, Mr. Burton. Second, please.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Lukatich. Any further discussion? All those in favor of approving the motion, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Letter L, motion to authorize staff to prepare an ordinance prohibiting parking in cul-de-sacs. Mr. Stanek?
So at the request of Chair Weber, Mr. Murphy, the motion is presented for the board's consideration, authorizing staff to prepare an ordinance for prohibiting parking in cul-de-sacs. A review of the code reveals that there are no restrictions on parking vehicles in cul-de-sacs. The radius of a cul-de-sac is prescribed with consideration to the safe maneuvering of emergency vehicles, including but not limited to fire trucks, ambulances, and snowplow trucks, just to name a few. When a vehicle parks in a cul-de-sac, this radius shrinks and impedes those emergency vehicles and could therefore create a safety hazard to township residents. Should the board approve the request, township staff will have a draft ordinance prohibiting this action for its consideration.
Need a motion to approve.
So moved.
Thanks, Mr. Murphy. Second, please.
I'll second it.
Thanks, Mr. Lukatich. Any further discussion?
Yeah, I mean, you could, the reason why we did it is because the cul-de-sac is to turn around and not to park in, and that's what Russ said. A lot of is happening, that people are parking their trucks or trailers in cul-de-sacs on whether anybody's got to use it. So we just thought that we should come up with an ordinance that they can't park in.
It's a very common thing. To prohibit parking.
Okay, any other discussion? All those in favor of the motion, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Motion to adjourn, please.
I'll make it.
Thank you, Mr. Lukatich. Rego will second the motion. All those in favor of adjourning, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried 5-0 to adjourn.